Hello BookTube and welcome to a close-up of my face. Yes, that's my kitchen in the background, and yes, these are my artworks that I did a long time ago. I am going to do a quick tag video for you today. It's one of the Sisterhood of the World book tags that Bookie Laura has tagged me in. So I'm going to really quick run through those questions. Some of them I'm not sure of the answer for, which is why I'm sitting here so I can look it up of what I've watched recently. I've written out most of it there. So the first question is a required read from school, if you liked it and if you thought you weren't going to and then you did, sort of question. So my required read that I can my required read that I remember from high school was in double major English in year 11 because that was my favourite class at school. And we read Lady Windermere's Fan by Oscar Wilde, which just was awesome. It was the first time I'd really read a play, and it was the first time I'd really been introduced to Oscar Wilde. I knew who he was, but I really got into Lady Windermere's Fan. I went to see it acted out as well, and we'd read it out and studied it and everything and in class, and I just absolutely loved it. And it was kind of like we all had this in-joke, our whole double major English class, which just revolved around English muffins and butter on your cuffs and yes mama. And the next question says book presentations. Again, the only one I can really remember doing was a speech on a book that we had read, again in double major English, and it was called, I can't remember what it's called, and I don't remember the storyline enough to look it up to find out. I didn't really like the book at all, but I really liked my speech that I did on it because I took the viewpoint of the dead child. I was so brave. For the first little bit of the speech, like the first, I don't know, minute or 30 seconds or something, I was just acting and I was trying to say words but I couldn't say them because I was this dead character, this silent character that didn't really have a voice. So everyone stared at me because I started my speech in absolute silence, and it was kind of, yeah, even looking back on it now, my anxiety just goes, there's no way you could do that, how did you do that, oh my god, I don't believe it. And then of course I found my voice and I started giving the opinions that the dead kid would have had in my opinion. But yeah, that was the only really speech I remember about presenting about a book, but we all had to do the same book, I think. I don't remember the structure of school much at all. I hated school, but I liked that class. The next question is, what book did you enjoy reading this year the most, like your favourite book of the year? And I think my answer to that is going to be Geekerella by Ashley Poston, as it was just so much fun. It was a standalone little novel that just did exactly what I wanted it to do, and it really warmed my heart and I loved it. I geeked out so much. It was great. I also really enjoyed fighting with the book called First We Make the Beast Beautiful by Sarah Wilson, because it's all about anxiety and I have a lot of anxiety issues, and it was a really good book to just sort of dive into. And some of the concepts she uses about anxiety being this beast that you have to sort of define and sort of accept and celebrate have really stuck with me, and now I imagine my anxieties as being big tentacles from this giant octopus that just strangle me. But I'm writing a poem about that, surprisingly enough. Maybe it might be a spoken word one that I might publish one day here on BookTube, maybe. We'll see about that. So the next question is series or standalone books, and I prefer standalone books, but both, definitely both. I like standalone books because you can read them and get them over and done with and it's great, but I also like series because then you get to be immersed in the world so much longer. Both is good. The next question is character or plot. Which one do you read for? And I read for both. Both, definitely both. My favourite place to read, now this interests me. I don't read in bed much, and I've just banned myself from reading in bed completely. Recently have found going on the exercise bike and reading is really helpful. I used to go on the exercise bike and watch. I've not been watching much TV and I've been reading a lot, so I've been getting my steps up and my exercise while reading, and it's great because the time just flies and you don't realize that you've been getting steps the whole time. Cool, so this is the next two questions is the one that I'm sitting here for. It's about the last 5 BookTube videos you watched and the last 5 non-BookTube videos you watched on YouTube. So I'm gonna pull up my history to find that out. Sorry about the reflection of the laptop in my glasses, but I just can't see without my glasses, so Sorry. The last 5 booktube videos was Matthew Sharappa, Get to Know Me in 5 Books was one of them. And I've watched the first few seconds of that many times just to learn how to say his name. And then before that, it's Build Your Own Book Rex Volume 4, also by Matthew Sharappa. And then Shake Tube, A Midsummer Night's Dream by Bookie Laura. 19 Random Facts Tag, also by Bookie Laura. Before that, it was American Gods Book vs. TV Show by Chrissy Books and Berries. I don't really remember watching that one, it was about a week ago now. Before that was If Booktube Were Tea by Pip Reads. She's really cool and new and I like her a lot. So then the next question after that is the 5 things you've watched on YouTube that aren't bookish content. So embarrassingly enough, I've got Aaron and Robert, the 18th of the 9th, 2017, part 1 of 3 by Wasteland Traveller. So I'm watching Emmerdale, yeah, it's the only sitcom I watch, I swear to God. Guilty pleasure. So the others, it's called Character Design Portfolio Guide and it's by Ahmed Al-Duri and he's just wonderful. He's a really good artist and he does videos that is just so relatable and really good content. I watch a lot of his videos. And before that is What is Juice Plus by Team TNT, which is something my friend is selling. So I watched that for her. Oh, these next 2, they're called How to Be Creative, How an Artist Turns Pro, and that's by Storytellers, super inspirational. And after that, it's Finished Not Perfect by Jake Parker, who's the guy who invented Inktober, I think. That particular video is just really inspiring. Those are the 5. There's also Game of Thrones played on a hurdy-gurdy because I didn't know what a hurdy-gurdy was and I had to look that up. And then the last question is Any World, Any Character. I have been struggling with this so much. I went through so many different answers and I just couldn't decide on one. I think just because at the moment I'm so excited by it, I'm going to choose the Lightbringer universe. But again, I don't remember many of the characters. I mean, I remember them, but they're not like my favorite people in the world. I don't think I would choose one of their characters to be with all the time. But then, you know, Arthur Dent's not really the best person to be with. Like, I don't know who I would choose as a character. I'm not sure I even have a favorite character. I would be my own character inside that world. In fact, I wrote a really dodgy bit of fan fiction about that about a year ago. Never to be seen. Cool, so that's the rest of my tag, all done and dusted. Hopefully that's given you a little bit of insight into me and my world. I will do the 19 Random Facts one later that Bookie Laura did because that just is great. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. How do you turn this thing off?